There has been a lot said about Sixers first round pick Jared McCain, from the TikTok dances to the performances at Duke to everything else about the guy. So me and RB, live here from Las Vegas, had a chance to talk to him, just me and RB with Jared McCain, getting a feel for who this guy is as a player, who this guy is as a person, and very excited to dive into it. Before we get to that, RB, how we doing out here in Vegas, my guy?
It is exceptional out here, man. The vibe is incredible. The amount of people we've ran into and just getting a behind the scenes look has just been top notch. So I'm super pumped to get into it. And how about the Sixers getting a big win yesterday?
Absolutely. And Jared McCain playing a key part in leading the charge, even though he has not stood out from kind of a statistical standpoint at this point. You feel his leadership, you feel his impact in the game. And I think that's one of my bigger takeaways is he feels like a winning player. Like he's a guy mature beyond his years. The shots have not fallen just yet, but I'm still confident that that is the case. So from the on-court standpoint, RB, what you seeing?
Yeah, I'm seeing a guy who has a lot of confidence. He's a willing shooter. He's able to get his teammates involved. We still want to see him take that next step in that area, but it feels like he's not afraid to really throw himself into the fire. And even from a personality standpoint, he is just himself. So I'm excited to see that continue to evolve as a player. But overall, Jared McCain is impressive. And the Sixers are in a win now type of mode. But if McCain can step up and be a player from year one, it's just going to help really expedite that timeline. So I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of, let's hear from Jared himself. You asked him specifically about those skill set, about it being a win now position for this team, and what areas he thinks he can help. So enough of us. Let's hear from Jared himself.
I think there's two major ones. I think defensive side, you have to be able to play team defense and make the right rotations, make the right reads. But also for me, it's just shot making. So making shots is what I've been doing for college and since my whole life. So being able to make catch and shoot threes in the corner when they're helping too much on Embiid or the devil in Embiid or for Maxey's coming off a screen, just be able to space the floor for them.
So a couple things that jump out at me from that answer that I love from Jared McCain. Number one, I love that he brought up defense because that is a major concern. That's something that people have circled, and particularly playing next to Tyrese Maxey. How is that going to work with two smaller guards in this backcourt? I love that he recognized that. It's been weird to me the amount of zone defense the Sixers team has played in summer league. I would like to get a clear identification of how capable is this guy in a man-on-man setting, which is going to be more of the situation at the NBA level. But I love that he brought him up, and of course, the shooting is always going to be his calling card as a player. So, RB, what did you think about that answer overall?
I thought it was a great answer. It kind of plays into what Nick Nurse loves to do. And at the end of the day, we know the Sixers need an excess amount of shooting. Like you have Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, Paul George. One thing that is missed on this team for years is those complementary role players and shooters that can really help, be that supporting cast for guys like Joel Embiid. So I think Jared McCain will have a role in this team. The question is, how consistent will he be? We saw one game in Utah where he was very good. And yesterday, for example, he just couldn't get it to fall through the hole. So how will Jared McCain, be able to kind of fit in, especially on nights where the ball may not be falling as well?
Yeah, 100%. And speaking of fit, that's been one of my larger questions with him as a player. Is he a true point guard? Is he a combo guard? What is type of his role on the team? So I asked him that directly himself and love to hear his answer. So let's get to that.
As far as for you personally, you play a lot of off-ball at Duke. Do you see yourself kind of in the future projecting as more of a true point guard or combo guard, or what do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like combo. I think I can do both. All my life I've been a point guard, and in college I had to play a specific role. So I feel like wherever I go, I can find my role, whether that's on ball or off ball. So it doesn't really matter for me.
And I think something that has jumped out to me with the Jared McCain situation overall is he is a guy who's ready to adjust to anything, that he's capable of just helping this team, wants to help out in any way that he can. So I love that answer. I love his openness. I love that he recognized that he has been a point guard throughout his career. But what did you think of that answer, RB?
Yeah, I liked it, especially because it seems like he's willing to do whatever it takes to win. There's a lot of guys that come in, they try to translate their game from college and they almost try to do the same exact thing. But to get to that NBA level, to potentially become an all-star player, to be a guy who could potentially be a superstar, you have to acquire more skills. You have to acquire more knowledge and really fit into that mold. And it just sounds like Jared McCain wants to do that. It sounds like he's motivated, he's hungry. Obviously, he's heard a lot of the commotion. But right now, Jared McCain is just focused on finding a way to be able to fit into this team right now. Because again, they need him immediately.
100%. And a lot of guys talk the talk that they say they're willing to do whatever the team wants them to do and all those types of things. We're seeing him walk the walk. Like even in the summer league setting, We've got a guy like Jeff Dowtin, who is one of the more experienced players when it comes to the available options in Summer League, who has dominated most of the point guard reps, that we've seen McCain in more of an off-ball setting. And he mentioned at Duke how he would adjust to a new role, that he throughout his life has been a primary point guard. So this is something that was new for him. So he is actually embracing these. And that's been one of the things that's really impressed me from a mindset standpoint, is that he will adapt to whatever the team needs. And he's finding ways to impact the game, even though it hasn't been the calling cards with him as a scorer, with him, knocking down these three-pointers, which is what we expect when push comes to shove this year. He's still finding ways to impact the game positively, which to me is a huge positive at this point in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, just having those couple skills that will translate quickly to the NBA will allow him to play in year one. The Sixers could have gone a lot of different routes in that draft. They could have traded the pick. They could have drafted a guy like Dalton Connect, who was more, ready now. But they are banking on that potential for the next 2-3 years. Yes, there's questions about McCain, Maxey, et cetera, in the backcourt. How do they fit defensively? Things like that. But if Jared McCain can just knock down shots and continue to evolve, especially as a playmaker, like we both said, there's no reason he won't find himself in a Nick Nurse rotation in year one.
100%. And while we haven't really seen it yet, I do believe he can be a true point guard, be a true table setter for the others on the team, that he does have that vibe, that feeling as a player, that I think he can run an offense. But you mentioned Maxey and McCain. That is a backcourt that not only will be leading the league in smiles and vibes, that this is a backcourt that I think can do some damage on the court. And you asked Jared himself, who's the teammate that you're most excited to be playing with? And I think it was an answer that we expected. So let's get to that right here.
It's got to be Maxey. I think just good energy, good vibes. Also, smaller guard. Just to learn as much from him. Also, Kyle Lowry, though. I've been watching him for a while. It's crazy. I was talking to someone. They said it's year 19 for him, and I'm 20 years old. I was like, I'm 1 year old. He's been in the league every year since I've been alive, since one. So to learn as much as I can from both of them.
So cool to see him acknowledge that head on. And by the way, Tyrese Maxey was also in attendance in the house, checking out the Summer League, seeing his future teammates play for the first time. So very cool for that experience there. But I love that McCain mentioned that right away. I think it's pretty clear that both these guys have a positive outlook on life, that they have one of the more, expression-full and excited personalities of people in the NBA. But the other name that he brought up was Kyle Lowry, which I think is a really interesting point. We obviously got the news that the Sixers are bringing Kyle Lowry back on another deal next year, that he will continue to be with the team. And my position on that has been consistently that both these things can be true, that Kyle Lowry can still be a positive rotational player, and his role on the Sixers team was too large last year. But looking at this year specifically with a guy like McCain, that's a perfect player for Lowry to take under his wing. And I do see some similarities in the way that they play. So, RB, what did you think about that answer? And how do you think he will fit with both Maxey and Lowry there?
Yeah, I thought it was a great answer. And in terms of Maxey, even, watching McCain in this summer league, he almost reminds me a bit of Maxey with some of this start-stop and this like quick burst ability. He loves that little floater coming off the off leg. And man, Jared McCain, he just seems like a guy who you can get along with. He seems like a guy who's going to show up day one, and a lot of these guys are going to, become friends with, et cetera. Like, take him under your wing. Like you said, Kyle Lowry's the perfect player for Jared McCain. And it's the reason I'm happy he's back, because the Sixers need development from their guards. They saw what Tyrese Maxey did. They're hoping Jared McCain can follow the same type of path. And obviously, you don't want Nick Nurse to overplay Kyle Lowry. We know he's at the end of his rope. But having him here to just kind of take guys like Jared McCain through some of those beginning stages, having that championship pedigree, and overall just being like a winner. Kyle Lowry is a winner, and this team needs to continue to learn how to win. And I think just learning some of those characteristics will be huge. Like you said before, Jared McCain's won his entire life, but now you're playing with the big boys. So learning from a guy like Lowry, taking in some of that expertise, is only going to help his career tremendously in these first couple years.
100% there. You hit on a lot of good stuff. And it's going to be interesting to watch this balance for Nick Nurse between playing a young guy like Jared McCain versus staying in win now and giving a guy like Kyle Lowry the opportunity. I think Kyle has done a nice job of showing this, mindset at this point in his career where he's ready to take a bit of a step back, where he does not need to be a guy near the league leaders in minutes or anywhere close to that as he once was at that point in his career. So I think it's cool that he has turned that page in his mind. But when speaking about McCain specifically, the personality has been something that's been on full display. So I could not help myself, and I had to dive in and get a little bit of a window into that. I asked Jared McCain if there was one song or movie that he could not live without the rest of his life. And I think his answer might be something that we kind of expect as well. So let's get to that video.
Mind if I hit you with a fun one to wrap up?
Let's go.
All right, so you got one song or movie to live for the rest of your life.
One song or movie?
Or movie, your choice.
To live on the rest of my life. Ooh. I'm going 50 first dates.
Okay. Wow. Awesome.
So I'm not a rom-com guy myself, I will say that, but it does not shock me that Jared McCain is. So, RB, what was your reaction to that interaction there?
Just the perfect Jared McCain answer. I mean, at the end of the day, like what else could you expect? I know you were definitely shocked when you heard that answer, but you got to love this guy, man. He's willing to put himself out there. He's willing to express how he feels and who he is. And despite what you think of him, whether he's going to get shredded after a bad game or loved after a great one, you got to respect who he is. He's not changing for anybody. And I think that will do him well in the NBA.
Totally agree that he's 100% unapologetically himself. He was repping the red and blue fingernails yesterday, had the nails all painted up for Summer League. And the thing that I respect about Jared with all of this is he takes it head on. This dude went to Duke, that he faced the music, that he has always been exactly himself, been doing it for years. And even yesterday in Summer League, like he got the loudest pop as far as the introduction. And then he certainly got plenty of jeers for everything. There are even people in our section throwing the like Jared jokes and TikTok jokes at him. So he's ready for the moment there. And I think he's ready to embrace that. And as a whole, I love talking to this guy, that it did not feel like a chore. It did not feel forced. He was super open with us, gave us like an honest point of time. So I really liked him as a guy. I was really impressed with him as kind of the human being side as well. What do you think about that, all that, RB?
Yeah, that was one thing I wanted to add into. Jared was awesome. He didn't rush us. He didn't make us feel, like we were just annoying him or, had to be a media type sense there. He was just like a regular guy talking to him, even off camera, shook our hands, took the time to know us. Jared seems like he's going to be a great pro. I earned a lot of respect for him yesterday, just with the way he handled himself. And like you said, man, that TikTok, Instagram, all that big fan base is really behind him. I could not believe how many people were there. It seemed like just to support him in NBA Summer League.
Yeah, I don't think I even grasped how large he was in kind of the social media sphere when kind of digging into things in the pre-draft process and learning about him a little bit. But I'm very excited that he is welcome to Philadelphia. And obviously, we hope that things transfer on the court as well as they did in other situations for him. There's still a lot to go down in the career of Jared McCain. But I'm loving what I've seen. Hopefully, a few more shots go in to close out Summer League, and we see a little bit more there. But I'm not concerned at all. I feel even more confident that this guy has a nice head on his shoulder, that he's going to be the ultimate professional and everything moving forward. So, any last words on Jared McCain, RB?
I hope he's ready to go from day one. This team is going to need him, and if he can be a piece, especially as a first-round pick, like I said, we're in win-now mode. It's only going to help this team tremendously. They will need that shooting off the bench.
Absolutely. So shout out to Jared McCain, man. Shout out to the NBA for hooking us up and giving us our availability there. And also shout out to you guys for tuning into this video there. So make sure that you're checking out RB Philly Take, his channel. If you have not, I'm sure all Sixers fans are quite familiar with him as well. And if it is your first time here on Sixers Digest, make sure you're smashing that subscribe button and liking this video as well. We'll be talking with you next time right here on Sixers Digest. Got plenty more to get into out here in Las Vegas. So stay tuned for what's coming and talk to you next time. Peace.